idea, but that's just the bottom line is Americans need to be able to exercise their Second Amendment rights. And if you don't believe in carrying a gun, that's your business. But just hope and pray that you've got a good guy sitting next to you on these subways or wherever wherever a violent scene like this might happen and can come out and protect you. This is what it is all about. Only a good guy can turn back a bad guy. A good guy with a gun has to be available to stop a bad guy with a gun.
And as you were saying earlier, these last few years, we've seen a surge, a record surge, in fact, of first-time gun owners here in America. More and more people exercising their God-given Second Amendment right to bear arms, especially as we see a crime wave. And I think that is scaring a lot of people, thinking, you know, we need to protect ourselves, especially as you were saying earlier. Police have been so demonized. A lot of their proactive policing has been hampered in a lot of these blue areas. So going back to yesterday and what we saw Biden and his announcements regarding ghost guns, he also nominated, now after his prior ATF nominee David Chipman, his nomination was sunk. Biden now put forward a new name, Dettelbach, another gun grabber. What are your thoughts on Biden's new ATF nominee?
It just goes right along with all the rest of his nominees. I mean, this lady that we just put on the Supreme Court, it wouldn't surprise me that she was viciously, totally anti-Second Amendment. We've now, because of three Republican senators joining up with the Democrats, we've got one of the most liberal, left-wing radicals sitting on the Supreme Court that we've ever had. And so this goes right along with most of Biden's other appointments. And all I can say is the U.S. Senate and confirming these nominees has got to stand tall for our U.S. Constitution, for the rights, the freedoms, and the liberties of the American people who want to be safe. They want to punish criminals. They want to protect our constitutional rights, and they want law enforcement to be honored and obeyed. You know, the first thing I learned when I was a young teenager, my dad taught me, even if you think the police are wrong, you better cooperate with them. Instead, today, we're having young people be told that police are bad and that you don't need to cooperate, and it leads to tragedy. And it's small wonder that we've got a crime wave, record murders, rapes, robberies, the rioting we saw all during after the George Floyd killing, all across the country. That's why people are buying their weapons now. They know the police can't be there to protect them. They want to be able to protect themselves.
Just yesterday, we were talking to the RNC spokesperson, Paris Denard, and in situations like this, he says, this is Joe Biden's America, basically welcome to it. So here we're talking about crime, but on the other hand, another issue affecting a lot of Americans in their daily life is inflation. And today we got new numbers from the Bureau of Labor Statistics that inflation now 8.5%, a record, since for 40 years now, it's now a record 8.5% inflation. These numbers keep ticking up and up. And of course, many people are thinking that even that figure may be a low ball, we could actually be living right now through higher rates of inflation. Would you say that this is America under Joe Biden?
This is another one of Joe Biden's self-inflicted wounds. The man, absolutely, every disaster we've been facing, the raging border crisis, inflation, decaying supply chains, energy prices, everything is because of this incompetent president. And incredibly, he tries to blame other people like Putin and extraneous other issues. But I can tell you, my own wife came home from the grocery store today just flabbergasted at what she had to pay for just a sack or two of groceries. And I can just imagine somebody on a fixed income, somebody that's in the lower socioeconomic group that just 2 years ago had a great job, was making ends meet. We had the lowest unemployment rate under President Trump that we had seen in 60 years. The gap between rich and poor was shrinking In other words, the middle class was growing in our country. Today, it's shrinking because of Joe Biden, and this is exactly what we all predicted this was going to happen. And I remember those days under Jimmy Carter when we had 8.9% inflation, and now we're up to 8.5. And as you said, Kara, this could be lowballed. It could be already up to where it is. And if the Democrats don't change course, we're going to see this get worse. And as far as gasoline prices, to try to put a Band-Aid on a gushing arterial bleeding wound, like he's trying to do with releasing 1 million barrels a day from our strategic petroleum reserve is just sheer absurdity. That petroleum reserve is there for emergencies, for crises. This is economics and self-inflicted to boot. So it's very foolish to be doing what he's doing.
That is exactly correct. And I know we're coming up on time here, but since I do have you here, a story that, of course, we've been following now for many days is Title 42 in the Biden administration, the CDC more specifically saying that it will be dropped come late May. So just next month, we are expected to see a record surge, even more than the last year or two of record surges at the border. This one promises to be quite huge. And of course, your state, Texas, is right there in the crosshairs. What is Texas doing right now to prepare for the end of Title 42?
Well, we are demanding. I'm the one of the co-chairs of the House Border Security Caucus. We met with Secretary Mayorkas last week and demanded to know what his plans were. He said that they were getting ready for it. They were going to hire some more Border Patrol agents. We know that's not true because Brandon Judd, who is the president of the Border Patrol Council, told us morale is at a historic low. People are resigning, they're quitting, they can't recruit. There are 200 Border Patrol agents short right now. So to get rid of Title 42, which is the only tool we have left from the Trump administration, and there because of COVID pandemic, and to get that and kick this, throw this out the window, we are going to have, instead of 8,000 per day, which was a record last week, we're going to have up to 18,000 illegal aliens coming across in one day. And all I can say is, if the Title 42, which pertains to the COVID pandemic, we can turn people back at the border without letting them come across, and to say that CDC and Mayorkas and the rest of this Biden administration saying that we don't need Title 42 anymore, when we know absolutely that COVID cases in the detention centers of ICE down at the border here in Texas are up 520%. 520% increase in COVID cases down there. And they're saying that we don't need Title 42. I would say it's insane and absurd, but I'll tell you, it may be more diabolical than insane or absurd. I don't know what, how they could conceive and possibly think that this is a good move on their part to get rid of Title 42, and we will wind up not with 2 million per year like we're having come across the border now, but 4, 5, 6 million a year.